Hello, hello, and welcome back to our show. I am Dominique.
And I'm Jen.
And you are on Look Up
Dummy Fuck.
Okay, Jen. This week, for the first time, we're going to say the date. So we are in March 3rd.
No, it's the 4th.
Oh, March 4th.
It's the 4th
today.
My
God, March 4th. And since we are in Barcelona, it's not even yet the morning in the US. Today, the President of the United States of America is going to do an address to the Congress, and we don't know what he's going to talk about.
I think it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
So, okay, guys.
We decided to dedicate this episode to Ukraine, obviously. Yes. And Zelensky as well, because we do think that the narrative is very wrong, obviously, in a good portion of the American public. I can tell you, I do actually know some people who voted for Donald J. And they were actually quite disgusted by what happened in the Oval Office as well.
Well, you've seen the polls, right?
Yeah.
The polls are going down, 48% approval rate, 52% disapproval.
But it's still a high number.
After a month?
It's a high number.
Are you kidding? After a month? No.
Well, considering what he's done in a 5-week period.
Well, yeah, but people have overloaded.
We thought we would talk at first a little bit about Zelensky. Dominique has and was lucky to know him.
Yes.
We'll talk about him, which is cool.
Several times.
We will pop up a picture right here that shows Dom and Zelensky.
Oh, a few. Let's pop up a few. I have a few. I've met him 5 or 6 times. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, which is exciting. Yeah. And we're going to start out by telling you a little story about Dominique's sweatshirt. So
look at it. Look at my outfit. I love this. Actually, Jen gave it to me, and it's very special.
Yeah.
Extremely special, because there's very few people in the world who have that. Actually, I think there's 4, 5. We made a special one for the French president. I didn't have the occasion to give it to him yet. But Emmanuel, if you're listening, you're getting one of those with a special little something. But that's okay.
So one of my designers on Angel for Fashion, her name is Elvira Gasanova. She's actually from Bucha, Ukraine.
Wow.
Her and her family were lucky enough to leave Bucha one day before the Russians arrived. She left with her newborn baby at the time. And she is now, not only did she leave Bucha, they destroyed her house that she had just built, but she has already rebuilt, because this is the Ukrainian spirit. Mm-hmm. So she's on our website. We're currently adding the men's collection, Dimitri, which I think is her husband's name, actually, to our website. And she is the one who makes all of the traditional clothing with the Ukrainian crest that Zelensky wears in everything. So the outfit that they so hated, one of my designers made. Thank you very much. I thought it was amazing.
I agree.
And yeah, I actually...
I'm wearing it today. Mm-hmm. So I'm wearing exactly what President Zelensky is wearing every day, with the little Ukrainian flag and, of course, the emblem of Ukraine. And I'm super proud of it. And this is my favorite sweatshirt. And I wear it today because we're going to talk about Ukraine.
In honor of this. So, right. I do think, to just talk about this dress code for one more second, because I am a fashion gal. Mm-hmm. This was just featured in Women's Wear Daily article by this incredible journalist, Rosemary Feitelberg. She has been supporting Ukrainian fashion designers with me since the beginning of the war, which is great. And I just think it's so interesting that so many Republicans have all these comments about Zelensky's outfit. Winston Churchill, when he was in a war, was wearing this jumpsuit.
General de Gaulle was
Yep.
wearing his military outfit
the whole time.
the whole time.
So this is not like new news that
No.
that presidents do this. And then, you know, very
Plus,
much.
we have to remember, he swear he will never wear a suit until the war is over. He
Yeah.
sweared it at the very beginning.
I mean, clearly they hadn't done their homework. I mean, I heard that this journalist that even asked that question, just so you know, I don't know if you know this, is
I heard this.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. Okay, which if you don't know who Marjorie Taylor Greene is, like Google her. She's crazy. She literally posted the other day too something about like, oh my God, isn't it crazy? Because I'm going to talk like Trump, like he talked to fucking Zelensky. Isn't it just crazy that like Russia's always called the aggressor? I mean, is she insane?
Yeah, who came into what country? I mean, like, it's a full-scale invasion. Come on.
And how many times has Russia invaded another country? I mean, the list is long, my friends, long. Google it.
Right.
Google it.
So,
and one more thing. Who is in the Oval Office every single time in some ridiculous t-shirt that says like tech bros or what, tech bros or whatever. But, you know, new Doge dude, tech bro, Elon Musk. So if you're going to have this rule that everyone should be
wearing
in a
suit and tie,
then like do it with your own administration as well, please. Okay.
Yeah, especially with someone who has the
power
and the rank of like
Muskie.
Yeah, cabinet member or whatever. Yeah. Okay, let's start with. I think we need to talk about this Oval Office meeting. I mean, it's honestly, I don't know about you guys, and please comment, share your comment, tell us how you feel. Of course, I watched it. I know you, Jen, watched it. We watched it actually several times to make sure we were really watching what we were watching. I have never been that shocked of a public meeting with the president and the vice president trying to humiliate someone else in front of the press.
Yeah. First of all, like, so I think it's going to be forever remembered, like, where were you when this happened? Because I
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like a landing to the moon moment. Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, I was for the first time not watching the news, which is a miracle for me. I was at dinner with one of my friends here in Barcelona and my phone was just blowing up and I was like, girl, 1 second, I have to look at this shit. And then I turned it on and I was like, like I felt like it was the Real Housewives of Washington, D.C. And like maybe Andy Cohen should have been sitting there instead of Marco Rubio.
Oh my God. Yes, totally.
So yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it was televised. I could not believe also that Marco Rubio not only just sat there and said nothing, but then even afterwards stood up for Trump, which if you watch... I
even heard he's the one who suggested to Trump to kick out Zelensky out of the White House before even signing the agreement. Like, they kicked him out of the White House.
And if you watch, Marco Rubio actually stands up for Ukraine in a very long speech, multitude of times, and has actually even voted for Ukraine aid in the past. So this is a complete 180. But of course, they love to talk about like how Democrats flip-flop, okay? But like they have no accountability for flip-flopping whatsoever. And then, but I would say the person really, I would love to understand how, so like Republicans are saying, this was not a setup, okay?
Yes.
And I would tend to believe that if J.D. Vance wasn't in that meeting, like there has been Macron and the dude from the UK and the guy from India. Like all these dudes have come in the last 5 weeks to the White House. Not one time have we ever seen something like this with J.D. Vance, the vice president, who,
Totally agree.
may I remind you, voted against Ukraine aid every single time.
Absolutely.
Has outwardly said, I don't care what happens to Ukraine a number of times in a number of interviews. Why the fuck was that dude even in this meeting? If this was not meant to be a provoked.
And honestly,
thing.
guys, I feel like what he said was so ungrateful and unfair. Like saying that Zelensky didn't thank the US, which is absolutely untrue. He did it so many times, 100 times, and you can watch it everywhere. He's been thankful for the support of the US all the time. Plus the number of lies from both Trump and Vance that were like shared during this meeting. And the winner for us, of course, us European or us who are more pro Zelensky and we think he's more of a hero, of course we think he's the winner of this meeting. But at the end of the day, it's a lose-lose situation for everyone except for Putin. I mean, the one who has won that night, and I think we can all agree on this, is clearly Vladimir Putin.
They were celebrating in Russia.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there was a 3-way call between Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un. Like, bruh, did you see that?
Yeah, we don't. By the way, we don't have cocktail on this one because we think they had a cocktail on their party.
For sure.
So
that was insane. I mean, just that he loves to say 300 billion, but it's not. 350.
350.
I'm sorry. But it's like 163 or something.
63 for military head and the rest for humanitarian and all this stuff. So it's pure lies. The President of the United States should remember, because actually, I mean, it's well known that the first one to give money to Ukraine is actually the United States of America, but they didn't gave money. They loaned money. They did a land lease, and so this money is going to come back to the US, and actually the European did not. So not only is lying on the face of everyone on the amount that was loaned or given to Ukraine, but he's also lying to everyone on, we're not getting any of that money back. Well, guess what, guys? This is completely untrue, actually. And to come to this, I can talk to you about a conversation.
Yeah, I would love to, because I've heard a lot about this land lease, as they call it. And
it's 50 billion. 50 billion US dollars
is the land lease part.
Is the land lease part.
Okay, because I have heard a lot about this, but nobody ever talks about it in the media, right? So we never really understand as to, and don't let me forget, I want to talk about this with you, is what it is that happens when we give all of this old guns and weapons and whatever, and how much money is in military contracts that actually helps out the people in the US who make this stuff. So let's talk about, land lease.
Let's start with land lease, and then let's talk about the money from actually the military aid. So land lease, very simple concept, is you give money to a country and you tell them, when you can, you're going to reimburse us with an interest, and you're going to give us contracts. So, half of your country is destroyed. You're going to work with American companies for that amount of money to rebuild stuff. But you have to work with American companies. We have to get that money back in contracts. So actually, France had a really good deal to sell a few locomotives to Ukraine, a few billion euro deal. That deal fall apart because part of the land lease was, we want to sell you locomotives and wagons and stuff for And so France lost that contract to the US,
Interesting.
part of the land lease. So that's the way, and it's a 50 billion one. So Donald Trump, go fuck yourself.
So
you're wrong. Read a little bit.
163 minus 50 billion. So now we're at like 113.
We are 113. Out of the 113, we have about 63 billion that are actually military contract or military aid. How does it work? Well, the US gives its old stuff. So the old stock.
Which I say, like, we had a bunch of like iPhone 8s
yes.
that we wanted to get rid of.
Right.
And we gave these old missiles.
You know, the old F-16, like the plane, the old ones we don't want anymore. We would love to buy new ones.
Yeah.
Well, so we give all the old stuff. And
so we cleared out the archive of shit.
And we give the money to the military contractor to build new stuff for us. Better ones. So we give jobs to the US companies. We give contract to the US companies. That money doesn't leave the US. It stays in the US and it goes in the US economy. It gives jobs to people in the US to build new weapons.
And you know, they never, it's so weird to me that they never talk about this. This is never publicized. It is so crazy to me. I mean, just that, like, to me, this was the best money that United States ever spent. It was, you know, 2 or 3% of the whole, you know, US military budget with zero blood from US soldiers.
I know.
And the other thing they don't talk about too, which I think is crazy, is this old stuff and some of the new stuff did things that they didn't even think that this weaponry could even do. So, for example, the Patriot missile system, like that thing was not even designed or meant to shoot hypersonic ballistic missiles out of the sky. And this thing, the way that the Ukrainians are using it, they are successfully shooting hypersonic ballistic missiles out of the sky.
You're the expert in rockets.
And like, here's the thing: we're showing the world how powerful even our old equipment is. Okay, and then of course Ukraine is the only country that's been able to use this stuff. So, you know, if we partner with them, we are going to have the most badass military ever, because they are going to be able to teach our people how to use this, right?
And, of course. And then the rest. So it's beneficial. And once again, the money doesn't really go out of the US. It's fuel the US economy as well. Our R&D, new weapons, modernize the army. I mean, come on. And then the last part was from the money from USAID that just disappeared. And so that's it.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, you know, when we talk about USAID, of course, I mean, you know, I'm not surprised, because he did say he was going to stop funding Ukraine. So we all were prepared that was going to happen. Right? That we
knew it was.
We knew it was coming. So today, you know, he obviously said he's pausing. So all the things that were about to go out the door, that the Congress had already. So this isn't even new aid. This is the aid that, like, we voted on when Joe Biden was in office. Things were about to ship out, and now it's a complete shutdown.
And it's about for $3.8 billion left of aid that is not going to go to Ukraine, which is a disaster.
I mean, the article I read, I think in the Washington Post today, said that Ukraine still will have things to send to the front line probably until midsummer. But what they also said is, when you know that this is the last of the stuff that you're going to get, instead of sending like 500 rounds to the front line, they're going to start sending 100.
Yeah.
So I do have, probably you as well, I do have a lot of people asking me, like, what are people saying in Ukraine? Okay. So they're saying a bunch of things. I'm sure you're hearing the same.
Yeah.
They're super concerned about what's going to happen on the front line.
Super concerned.
They are super upset about what happened. And There was, I think, a dip in the polls when it came to Zelensky and his popularity in Ukraine. And now he has just skyrocketed back up. Like everyone I talk to is like, I'm so proud of my president, blah, blah, blah. So I think JD.
Oh, did a good job for the popularity of Zelensky. Yes, thank you very much. Thank JD. You did a good job for the popularity of Zelensky.
Because I think what they wanted to do, dude, I think they wanted to obviously put in a puppet. That's why they kept saying, like, bitch, you're a dictator, get out of the office, da 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 da.
Who's the puppet, really?
Yeah.
And who's the puppet of whom? That's kind of the question right now. I have the feeling that the puppet is in the White House, and I have the feeling I know who is the puppet master. You've seen this week, like even in the UN, the United States voted with Russia on 2 resolutions.
Oh, that was insane.
The same day. Same day. So, guys, let's be clear. The US is now officially run by a pro-Russian government. Let's be clear. It's a pro-Russian government. He loves Putin. He's playing the game of Putin. Even in the UN, he's voting with the Putin ambassador, which has never happened ever in the past 20 years.
And literally that vote, we voted the same as North Korea, right?
Yes, our friends. New friends.
And I think even China abstained from that vote.
I mean, so let's be clear. This is the world. There was a world before that meeting, and I 200% agree with you, Jen. I think we've seen that a little bit in the press, but not as clearly. But there was a world before that meeting in the Oval Office, and there is a new world that is clearly in front of us. It's Europe against Russia and the US, Russia and the US being together, and China being somewhere looking at us and saying, oh, the US, they don't like us, they bring us tariffs. Russia, well, they're a bit small. What are we going to do with Europe? And it's a completely new world that is unfolding.
I mean, for me, it just looks like he is ready to just like cut up the world. Like to me, it looks like he wants to divide the world between China, Russia, and the US. That's what it is looking like to me. I mean, I truly believe that he owes Russia.
Me too.
I mean, my new tagline, maybe you've seen me comment.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Maybe you've seen me comment on it throughout social media, but it is, since Putin couldn't conquer Ukraine, they took the Oval Office. That's what it looks like.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Zelensky, actually the man, because it's already almost the end of this conversation, Jen.
He's Jewish, first of all. So I love that, like, Putin calls him a Nazi, okay, but he's Jewish. So that in and of itself is just
and that's also really interesting because people forgot that actually there's a huge Jewish community in Ukraine, and there was, I mean, horrible.
More Jews died, I think, in Ukraine than even in Germany, if you look it up.
Yeah, and so I mean, and there's a huge Jewish community in Ukraine, and President Zelensky is Jewish, which is actually the first Jewish president in the history of Ukraine.
And I heard that his dad had 3 brothers.
Okay.
And 3 of them were all murdered during the Holocaust.
Wow.
And only 1 survived, which is his father.
Wow. And it's interesting because when you look at it, he's like Donald Trump, he's a comedian, because let's be real. I mean, Donald Trump is a comedian. He got famous because of his TV show, The Apprentice. They come from the same. I mean, Donald Trump is a loser businessman. I mean, he was bankrupt several times, used the money of his father. He's a nobody. He just became famous because of The Apprentice. So he's kind of coming from the same background. And I remember meeting President Zelensky at the beginning. He was really interested in tech. So he came to Unit City several times. Sometimes cabinet was calling in the morning, say, "Oh, the president."
Did he used to wear a suit when he would
Of
stand?
course, yes. And his cabinet would call me and say, "Oh, the president would like to meet some startup and see what you guys are doing at Unit City." I said, "Sure, we're going to prepare." "No, he wants to come at 4 p.m. today." And it was like, so security, we had to find startup to pitch.
Yeah.
And he was asking so many sharp, good questions. We had so many good conversations. And then last time.
Was he speaking English to you, or was he speaking
English?
He was. Okay, because I know it's not really his most favorite thing to do, right?
It's not his most favorite thing to do, and his English was fairly broken. I think he really improved
a lot. Yeah.
But actually, he told me the first time I met him, he said, "Oh, with his voice, which is like that, oh, it's good that you speak English because I can practice." I loved it. He's super short. He's super warm, and I was like, "Okay, you cute." That's what you know. That's what I felt like. He was cute. He was interested. He loved tech. And it's interesting because I think us European, now we really view him as a hero. And for me, he's a hero. He's standing up for our values. He's fighting for our values. He's fighting for Europe. And this is, I think, exactly what Trump hates in him.
Yeah.
He's fighting for everything that Trump hates, like freedom, democracy, like the right of people to express themselves. I mean, and it's I have to be honest, guys, I'm proudly wearing the same sweatshirt
I think it's
today.
crazy. Like, a lot of people follow him. I do. The guy every single day gives an address to the nation.
Yes.
A video address. So FYI, he has not taken a day off in 3 years, which to me is totally insane to even think this. And FYI, do you think that maybe JD Vance should have thanked the American people for giving him already a week holiday skiing? Last week he went skiing on vacation.
Oh.
So he's only been in office for 5 weeks and he already had to take a week skiing. Trump has been on the golf course.
How much does that cost to the taxpayers?
I know. And
right? All the security details, probably the plane is paid by the taxpayer, but those people have no problem using taxpayer money and cutting all the jobs.
But to me, just the thought of working every single day for 3 years in the middle of a war, he's like the most wanted man. It's insane. I mean, I actually even gave my regards to one of my designers, Gunya Project, is the stylist for the First Lady of Ukraine, and said, I'm so sorry for like what happened in my country on Friday, because I can't even imagine what she's going through either, But they're very humble people, both of them. And
so guys, it's time for Europe to stand up. If you're watching us,
the whole reason that we even started this, so
is exactly that.
Back to the whole reason we're trying to keep Russian propaganda out of Europe. We're trying to inform Europeans and Americans. But yeah, Europe needs to like stand up and realize, sadly, that the US is not on its side anymore.
Yeah, I think it's time to look up.
Dummy fuck.
And that's it, guys, for the show. Please like us, comment, share. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram. What do I miss?
I mean, just
all of them.
Yeah, check it out. And thanks for watching. And if something like super crazy happens tonight, we will try and hop on like a little short video or something just to have a little clip after this. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.